Hey y'all, what's up? This is Allegan Observers. I've been talking about doing this video, and I'm finally there. So this is kind of what I hope to do more with this channel. Not necessarily cover um, horrible stories that, like this from last year, but just local stuff and kind of dive deep, pull things together that maybe aren't into more of a concise form, and not necessarily bad things, like I said. So last June, there's an accident involving a sheriff's deputy that killed a passenger in a vehicle. So this is Manlius Township. 74-year-old died after a crash involving an Allegan County Sheriff's Office patrol vehicle near Fenville. It's about 7:20 p.m. Was that June 7:20? So it should have been pretty good daylight left. So there was a southbound on 54th Street, and the patrol vehicle is westbound. You can kind of see where we're at here. I'm not trying to do nothing there. So the driver, the front seat passenger, elderly female, died on the accident. The driver was taken to a hospital, and so were the two deputies. The deputy that was driving was still in training. The name of the training officer he was with, or training deputy he was with, is still not known. Not released anyway. MSP is investigating. The deputies are not on administrative leave. A spokesman is for the sheriff's office. Who's the spokesman, guys? Tell us names, guys. Let's know who's actually saying this stuff. But anyway, they're waiting for the completion of the MSP's investigation for any discipline. So and then we're gonna go. I had all this loaded. What's going on? All right, there we go. So now, then the deputy was charged. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. What in the world? Okay, well, I got this all jacked up. My apologies, guys. Is it this one? Alrighty, let me think where I want to go. So anyway, so this is the defense in late September, saying that the allegations are that the patrol vehicle is doing around 90 miles an hour at the time of the crash. No lights or siren. The claims by the deputies are they were attempting to catch up to a speeder, and that the defense attorney is saying that the client, the former deputy, was trained to speed like hell. That's my words. To catch up a vehicle, so not turn the lights on until he could read the license plate. We'll cover how insane that is shortly. But he is facing misdemeanors. Where in the world is the charging one? That's weird. Anyway, I thought I had one up talking about he was being charged. So, we saw from, where is that? It was going southbound. So, sorry. This is why I don't do this. So the deputy was going westbound. They were going southbound. So the southbound vehicle, the deputy had the right of way. So the southbound vehicle, according to the story I don't have here, slowed but didn't stop, which, yeah, I don't know if you could really charge him with rolling the stop sign, but certainly failed to yield. But so the deputy was charged under MCL 601 601D. So there's a person who commits a moving violation that is approximate cause of death of another person or serious impairment of bodily functions. So there's two parts here. They both read the same. I'll read the first one. So one, a person who commits a moving violation, in this case it would be the excessive speed in violation of another MCL we'll cover in a second, while operating upon a highway or other place open to the general public, including but not limited to an area designated for the parking of motor vehicles, is guilty of a misdemeanor and punishable by imprisonment up to 1 year and a fine not more than $2,000 or both if the violation was the approximate cause of the death of another person. So that's the one charge, and everything else reads the same except for the last line. It's person's guilty. Oops, I'm sorry, too far. Does everything that causes serious impairment of bodily function to another person is guilty of a misdemeanor, punishable by imprisonment of up to 93 days or a fine of not more than 500 or both. So that is what that. So this is the publicly available court filings for this. It's State vs. Goggins. So yeah, the first charge is moving violation causing death, D1, and the other one's moving violation causing serious impairment. And you think, oh, he was doing this and caused death, but we want to break down the legalities. The other vehicle still had to yield right away to him. Which you can like it or not like it. It's just how the law is written. So I think it's up top, isn't it? But he's scheduled for a pretrial. I guess it's further down still. He's out on for a $500 personal bond. I'm assuming that's a personal recognizant bond, but I can't say for sure. For $500, they are misdemeanors. He's got a hearing coming up the 28th of February that was rescheduled just for a pretrial. I don't know if it'll be rescheduled or not. I'm sure there'll be a plea deal at some point in this. I'll do my best to let you know. So, fun parts of this story. Come on. He's saying he was being trained as he was supposed to. Yeah. All right. So then this Wood TV, I pulled them all off of one, guys. There's stories, all local stuff, pretty much covering the same thing. So, Wood TV reached out to a nationally recognized researcher who spent a career studying hazardous police actions called the high-speed pursuit of traffic offenders. Ridiculous, dangerous, without justification, unreasonable. Jeffrey Alpert, professor of the Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice at the University of South Carolina. He's been checking all this for 30 years. He's taught at the prestigious FBI Academy. He's testified before all kinds of things. And he wouldn't specifically speak, but so the deputy was allegedly driving more than 90 without lights or sirens before he slammed and killed into the the SUV, which led, I almost said he killed her, which led to the death of the deceased. So yeah, prosecutor charged him with about all she could, really. So back to this expert. Speeding without lights and sirens is never appropriate. Putting everyone's life at risk is not something we do in 2022. It's not something we did in 2020. It's kind of the historical, quote, chase until the wheels fall off, end quote, that we got rid of in the 80s and 90s. He wouldn't comment directly here. He didn't have the details, but he urged the sheriff to review his department's policy. I would suggest the sheriff revamp and look at his policy to see what's going on in the rest of the state, the rest of the United States, and the rest of the world. In South Carolina, here we have what's called an overtake statute, where the legislature allows cops to do some of that, but it's in a very, very short time to catch up to a car. You still have to drive with due regard for the safety of all motorists, and driving 90 miles an hour without lights and siren doesn't do that. So, Goggins, I guess I was looking for that other story, but it's covered here too. So he resigned after this. It talks about the family. So, yeah, this is from the crash report. I don't know if anybody's been involved or around traffic crashes. The forces involved are insane, but due to the impact, the front seat passenger exited her seating position despite using a seatbelt. The passenger was pronounced deceased on scene due to the injuries sustained in the crash. It's from the state police crash report, which I'm still trying to get because somehow there was no records found with my request, which is weird. But it's like I can't remember. I know it's been released to like the news and stuff, but it's like what'd they say, 13 or 1,700 pages and stuff with supplements. I'm not quite sure if I want to try to delve into that. So, he was talking the policy. Let's jump over here. So this is, and I don't know if we covered it in there. I didn't read it out loud, but the sheriff's department policies are not available for some reason. Still, I will try to get them, but they didn't even really release them to the news. But Michigan State Police, yeah, no, it's transparent. Oh my goodness, how crazy! They have their policies and procedures and orders available online for free. So this is one that's really pertinent in my view. Operating department vehicles, emergency response driving. So the first paragraph there, A, generally the authorized members exceed this when authorized members exceed the speed limit in an attempt to catch up to someone suspected of violating the Michigan Vehicle Code, that action is not considered to be emergency response driving for the purposes of this order. In such situations, MCL 257.632 provides an exemption for emergency equipment use when the nature and the mission requires that a law enforcement officer travel without giving a warning to suspected law violators. The statutory exemption does not protect the authorized member from the consequences of the reckless disregard for the safety of others. As such, authorized members shall use due care and caution when attempting to catch potential violators. That's pretty common sense there, right? But so this is, if you're ever wondering, Section 257 of the Michigan Compiled Laws is the Michigan Vehicle Code. It covers all lottie-dottie everybody. So pretty much this is all repeated here. They just kind of took quotes out of it. So all these links will be down below too, guys, in the description, so you can look them up yourself. Why was that? I don't want it. All right, there you go. So again, we're still waiting for the pre-trial on this, and let's see this one. This is all right. So this came out late October. So this is the attorney that's representing the family in the civil side. He's skeptical of the claims the deputy was even trying to catch a speeder, based on the newly released. Oh, this is from the state police report, the crash report, an investigation. He believes the deputy was actually rushing to pick up a pizza. He called it absolutely outrageous, and he's preparing a suit against the sheriff's department, the deputy, and the Lee Township, which is, they were in the contracted deputy's vehicle out of Lee Township, small rural township that contracts to have one deputy specifically assigned to their township, basically. He's resigned, he's facing charges. Goggins and the field training officer, again, who has not been named, who was riding with him, said they were trying to catch a speeding minivan, but the state police report of the fatal crash shows an MSP detective sergeant questioning Goggins about a pizza order the deputies were scheduled to pick up within minutes of the crash. Thomas advised they were running traffic enforcement until their pizza order was going to be ready. Detective Sergeant Kyle Gorman, that name sounds really familiar. Anyway, I asked Thomas if, at the time of the accident, they were heading into Fenville to pick up the pizza. Thomas replied no, they were attempting to make a traffic stop on a speeder. He's calling it BS. I don't believe they're planning to pull over speeding motorists around 7:18, knowing that they wanted to be at their party by 7:30. So there was kind of doing a meetup with other deputies. So yeah. This is way more scattered than I expected, but so the crash happened. The pre-impact range study of the deputy's vehicle was calculated at 87 to 95 miles per hour. Wrote MSP, I'm not sure what SPL stands for. Sergeant Brandon Davis. The speed limit is posted at 55. There's a lot of deer in that area too, but using time distance calculations determined if the deputy's cruiser was traveling at 55 miles per hour, the crash would not have happened. Where's my shocked face? So yeah, you can see this is obviously the deputy's car, and that's the impact, and just debris in the roadway. But so yeah, that's a pretty wicked broadside crash. Pretty much hit it right, quote unquote, perfectly. And yeah, one thing I'm wondering, and I don't know if I'll ever get to the bottom of it. So this is nowhere near Lee Township. They're a township or more away from Lee Township while they're running traffic enforcement. So I'm not sure if there's an exception within the policies or whatever in the contracts for training, but that's one question I have not seen answered or even asked. So yeah. Jose Dunas is southbound. Yeah, we covered all this. So crash report was reported at 7:18. The pizza shop, which was 1.5 miles west of the crash site on Fenville's Main Street, was scheduled to close at 8 that night. So this is kind of, they're just digging into it, but the pizza shop manager states she knows for sure that she told the officers to be there a half hour before their closing time. Said the Detective Sergeant Gorman. She explained it was a Sunday. They would have told them to be there by 7:30. Then they reached out to the manager, advised approximately 10:15 for the period of time. So anyway, guys, this is getting way too long. All of these. Then, of course, the defense attorney is saying, "No, that's a bunch of junk." So there's only a couple people that really know. But so that's what I'm trying to do with this story, guys. That kind of thing. Just kind of dig into it more. Like I said, there's questions I have, and I don't know if I'm gonna get the answers or not. But like I said, they were nowhere near Lee Township, but they were running traffic enforcement, and then they were meeting up with other deputies and stuff for quote unquote party. I can't remember what it was. Basically getting for dinner, I believe. I mean, it's not uncommon for officers to meet up and hang out while they get their chow. But all right, guys. So yeah, I will keep my eye on this and try to catch the pre-trial stuff coming up, and poke and prod around with some FOIA requests, see if I can figure out what the real story is. Why? All right, guys. So have fun, be smart, be safe, and always record the police and be smart. I already said that. I'm tired. Later.